Hello, everyone. This is Fabian, the product manager for GitLab Geo, and now I'm going to walk you through the planned work for the 13.1 release. I'll start at the top. As you have heard before, we're working on a self-service framework. So we had intentions to finish most of this work here for package file replication 13.0, but we're not quite there yet. So we're focusing in 13.1 on finishing up all of the remaining items so we can close out package file replication. There are a few remaining, but we are confident that that will close in 13.1, and that's one of the two main focuses of this release. Secondly, we are starting more and more work on the disaster recovery and failover side of things. So promoting a secondary should really be very simple for our users. We've mapped out the current user flow as all of the different steps that a user needs to take, including the sort of pre-flight steps. And our goal here is to make it a lot simpler, reduce the number of manual interactions for a user. And in 13.1, we are going to start working on automating a lot of the pre-flight checks. So currently we ask our users to perform many manual actions, and we can actually, and we have a number of very small issues here, we can start working on automating some of them so that a systems administrator no longer has to do this manually. They can just invoke a command and it will check and provide information as to the pre-flight checks having failed or succeeded. In the same realm, we are also working on some planning. Essentially, what we are interested here is some of the breakdown for creating a single command that can be run on any node to promote a secondary to a primary. So this is just planning that we're currently thinking about, just wanting to point that out for 13.1. So implementation may not necessarily start, but we're going to work in this area. Something that is in flight at the moment and getting to the close. So we had hopes to deliver this in 13.0, but this will be pushed into 13.1, is a command line tool that pauses and resumes all replication on the secondary. So this is quite important if you want to decouple a secondary completely from a primary, so that anything that happens on the primary is no longer replicated onto the secondary. We're also going to start work on a maintenance mode, read-only mode. We've had that on the agenda for a little while. So we've recently broken out a few more issues to make it more iterative. So you can see they're very small, and we're going to start working on them. This requires quite a bit of testing, so we may not be able to finish all of it in 13.1, but we're going to try and make inroads here. Other than those features, we're also working on simplifying backfill operations for Geo. This is mainly for performance reasons and for the backend to be simpler. So we're essentially trying to eliminate the foreign data wrappers out of Geo, which have made Geo more complex and harder to maintain. So that is ongoing, and some of these features are landing in 13.0 very likely, but we are continuing to make improvements in this area. On the UI and UX side, the focus in 13.1 is on forms. So a lot of the forms that are presented to systems administrators in the Geo UI are not as user-friendly. So we are adding better validations. We are updating a lot of the forms themselves, the design. For example, here, adding more user-friendly error messages. But we're also looking at updating how the Geo forms can be edited. And another item sort of preparing us for the future is we already know that Postgres 12 will become the standard for GitLab. And because Geo relies very heavily on Postgres, we're going to perform some preliminary research on what is needed for Postgres 12, so that when these changes land in 13.3, we have the Geo side of things covered. So 13.1 is a bit more focused. We may also work a little bit on instrumenting the North Star metrics, but the focus this time around is really to finishing the first iteration for package file replication, making improvements in the planned failover arena, continue to work on scalability improvements and polish the UI even further. And that's it from Geo for 13.1. Thank you very much.